Here we go. Five, four, three, two, one. Welcome back to the Hellywood Slab. This is kind of a special episode this time. Please like, comment, and share at the bottom. I'm your host, Dr. Morgus Broughton. And Morgus over here trying to get his chair right. We lost a horror legend recently. That was Tony Todd. Obviously, we're heartbroken about it. God bless, Godspeed, prayers for his friends, family, and fans, and hopefully you're a fan. Many films that he did. I'm telling you right now, if you've not seen Sushi Girl, you need to see it. It's a good movie.
That was something else.
Very underrated, yeah. Used to interact with Tony all the time on Twitter. He was very gracious, a very nice person. Took time to know the fans and whatnot.
He was always nice.
Yeah. Adored the guy. He would constantly leave links to music too. Classic, Marvin Gaye and stuff like that. Hey, listen to this, and how does this make you feel?
Wow.
And it was always really cool. He was a very nice guy, and of course, everybody, the voice of Venom. What are we gonna do with the Venom games? People, the man passed away. They'll find somebody else to do Venom's voice. It sucks, but that's what's going to happen. So, you got all these other things he's done, Star Trek over the years, other films that he's done, but our reviews today, we're going to do two films. We're doing the 1990 Night of the Living Dead, which I think is the film that really kind of introduced a broader audience to Tony Todd as an amazing actor. No, I'm not saying he had never done anything before that, obviously. But Night of the Living Dead, his portrayal of Ben was just amazing. George Romero and John Russo and Russ Strainer wanted to, finally get paid some money for their work they had done on Night of the Living Dead because of the situation of the original film. Immediately, and ending up in a public domain, so they wanted to remake the film and, had Tom Savini come in and direct it.
Tom's a pleasure.
Yeah. Patricia Tallman is Barbara. The cast in this one was actually really good.
Yeah.
They're coming to get you, Barbara. They're horny, Barbara. They've been dead a long time. It's like, wow, here we got some rewritten lines, man. You were a real jerk in that film, Johnny. But, talk about replacing Dwayne Jones, man. Such an iconic role from the original film. So, to me, walking into the remake of Night of the Living Dead, I didn't know what to expect because Dwayne Jones was just so good with that role. And Tony Todd really was able to grab a hold of it and pretty much make it his own.
Everything
and just do
that man touched.
An amazing job. And be humble about it, too. Even give Dwayne his props, when you would talk to him about it. Because, this film really kind of introduced a broader audience to Tony and really kind of threw him out there into the horror genre, bringing it into stuff like, later, the Final Destination films and The Crow. He was great in that, even though he wasn't in The Crow much, but what bit that he was, of course, he made an impact as Tony Todd. Disciples, man. For God's sake, man. All I can say about Disciples, and I said this, and people got mad at me for this, but look, Disciples proved two things to me. One, just because you have a ton of amazing horror movie talent doesn't mean you're going to get an amazing classic horror film.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, Linnea Quigley's breasts should not be that amazing at her age. I'm so sorry, but wow. That was, man. But Tony Todd's performance in the film
stellar
was fantastic.
Wishmaster.
Yeah, Guy Rory, the tall man. Wishmaster, he was good, but back to Disciples, man. Angus Scrimm.
Yeah.
It was one of his last films before he did the Final Phantasm film, of course.
Yeah.
And even his performance was good. But the point being is, it's such a jumbled mess. But Night of the Living Dead. Let me tell you, if you have not seen this film, because I mean, when it came out in the theater, it didn't do well. It's another one of those movies that I don't know. I still don't understand why the remake of Night of the Living Dead didn't do well when it came out. It's become a huge cult classic, of course, now. But if you have not seen it, I absolutely highly recommend it. And what's really nice about it is it has a different ending than the original film. And this is a good thing because they needed to update it a little bit more. Barbara's character evolves differently than she did in the original film. And
a little different times too.
Well, yeah,
so
yeah,
it
yeah.
makes that makes it so much easier.
Look, you'll never hear me say anything terrible about the original Night of the Living Dead.
No.
Because there's really nothing wrong with it. It is a perfect horror movie.
Especially for the day and age it
was.
was.
Yeah, when it came out, it just changed everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a film that just really, I mean,
you shocked the culture system.
I think of those times, between Psycho and Night of the Living Dead, I don't know which one had a bigger influence on horror at that time. But man, just a fantastic film. The makeup obviously was top notch. Tom Savini, is a great makeup artist. Got people working for him that really, really know what they're doing. And the performances of everybody. Cooper, you're still a jackass in that movie.
Shame on you.
A jackass in the original, and a jackass in the new one. But yeah, we loved it. Night of the Living Dead. I'm sorry, I'm gonna straight up give it 5 goals out of 5 for the remake. It really is good.
You must be in a good mood today.
No, step by step can stay in line with the original from start to finish. There's only a couple scenes in the whole film that I kind of go.
Okay, so what's your favorite modern scene that's different from the original that you really enjoy the best?
There's another one for the fire. The end of the film is just like, oh. that was, and there you go. I didn't spoil it, but yes, that scene was, the exclamation point on the whole film. It was just like that, and you needed it though because it just really, again, another way to advance Barbara's character. It's one of those films, honestly. And it's something that's always bothered me about, I swear, any of the George Romero zombie films is, can we get a sequel and find out what happened to these characters? I was really, really interested.
Like, where the hell were they in the other ones? We want to know.
Yeah, Patricia Tallman's performance of Barbara.
Where's Barbara?
This. What happened to Barbara after this film? And I know that John Russo, God bless him, has tried to go on and make, Night of the Living Dead comic books through the Avatar press. And yeah, some of them are good. The writing's not bad, but I mean, of course, it evolves into a lot of debauchery and nakedness and this and that, and it just kind of, like, to me, I mean, I guess that's one of the things I liked about the George Romero films, though, is it's not a TNA show.
Yeah,
you're actually seeing a story, unravel, and even with the remake, it was the same way. It's just you're watching this story unravel, and you're just seeing terrible things happen to terrible people. And his main focus, even in the remake, I mean, the zombies aren't the main focus, it's the people.
Yeah.
And Tom Savini kept that, and that was awesome. Like I said, there were some changes made to make sure it's a little bit different than the original, but not so different that you don't feel like you're watching a whole other movie. Tom Savini just kind of took it and just put his stamp of approval on it. Did something a little bit different with it. And again, to be honest with you, if not for everybody in the film, I don't think that it would have done what it did. And it's a shame that, again, it bombed when it came out. I still to this day don't understand why. But it has become extremely popular now. And if you've not seen
watch it.
The 1990 Night of the Living Dead.
On camera.
Yeah, right. you need to watch it. It's really good, and it's a nice reflection because unlike some of the other remakes, whatever you want to call some of the other things that have come out since then, don't even get me started with Night of the Living Dead 3D. It's a really good film. It's a really good film.
Well, you gave it 5.
Yes, I did, and it did. And the next film,
what's the
I'm
next
already
film?
giving you a huge boost. I'm going to give that a 5 too. and that would be, of course, the movie that made Tony Todd a star.
Candyman?
That would be Candyman.
Candyman.
Candyman was so absolutely...
Candyman.
Absolutely...
Candyman. I'm just kidding.
Are we trying to resurrect him? There's no mirrors here. But seriously...
And the camera.
The film, you know, honestly speaking, I don't know if Tony Todd would have gotten the role without Night of the Living Dead.
Oh.
Because they really saw how good he was. And it's you know, Tony Todd did a lot of stage stuff and whatnot too. And so, I mean, he was just a very, very competent actor. The Hellhounds are at it again.
Yes, they are. But back to Candyman.
Candyman. So, Tony Todd and Virginia Madsen. Oh, my lord, dude. I fell in love with Virginia Madsen with Highlander 2, man. I was just like, wow.
She plays a good investigator.
She is an amazing... she's actually a really good actress.
Yeah.
I like Virginia Madsen. And then I went back and didn't realize that I had seen Dune a million times and didn't realize she was in it. But she was really good in Dune. I mean... You know, and then, Dune, as in Frank Herbert's Dune, not
the original.
Doom. Yeah. Dune, not Doom.
Sandworms.
Even that Dead Rising movie they did, she was good in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was good in that. You know, I heard a lot of talk about, people saying some terrible things because she's gotten a little older, but still pretty, still a great actress. She pulled her role very well. So it's like, people, you need to shut up.
Yeah.
But Candyman, such an epic role for Tony Todd. At that time, black cinema was evolving. There was a lot more horror coming. We'd had Tales from the Hood. We had Back Road Diner from Troma, and also, what's the name of that other one? And it's an important one, too. It's actually Samuel L. Jackson's first film. It'll come to me before we're done. That one had come out. New Jack City had become really super popular. Boys in the Hood. I mean, a lot of stuff had been happening with black cinema. And honestly, there had not been a black archetype in horror that had been a mainstay, we'll say villain.
Yeah. But you sympathize.
But that you could sympathize with that wasn't a blaxploitation character.
Right.
Even though I love Blackula, I love those films. But dude, let's be honest, man. I mean, come on.
Blackula's just Black Dynamite as a vampire.
Yeah. Hell Down in Harlem, great stuff. But again, very blaxploitation.
Man knows his stuff.
Shaft. Yeah, but blaxploitation, man. So Candyman was very elegant, very intelligent.
It was a fresh air.
Oh my God, Tony Todd's performance, dude. He was so good. I mean, you really, really, you felt his evil, but at the same time, he was kind of like Frank Langella was in the 70s Dracula. Dracula 79.
You started
there were
feeling...
women that were just like, oh my God, he's so sexy as Dracula. There were women the same thing with Candyman.
Yeah.
Tony Todd's performance, he was so...
mesmerizing.
Yes, absolutely.
He was mesmerizing.
He just really captured your attention.
And it became a really dark horror romance, in a way.
Yeah, it really, really did. It really, really did. Even the reboot, thank you, Jordan Peele. The scene with Virginia Madsen and Tony Todd... was very good.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, after Tony passed away, Virginia had put out a tweet. Obviously, she was devastated.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, just in tears because
you make a good connection with a friend.
She loved Tony, and but she had basically said that Jordan Peele had even talked about going back and doing a movie about how the two of them in the past had become lovers. Leading up to what happened to the Candyman.
The original story that we wanted to hear.
Yeah, that really would have been very cool. As much as look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Here's the thing. I'm not the biggest fan of the reboot. Okay, it wasn't horrible. I have seen way worse. But listen, if you guys are thinking about doing that story without Tony Todd, please don't. That's all I'm gonna ask. It's just not going to be the same. I understand, and I mean, you got it based off a short story by Clive Barker. I know it's in the Books of Blood. I read it years ago, And there's, it was a short story, and they just built upon that. The whole Cabrini Green thing and everything else with the Candyman and where he came from. And seriously, if you are going to watch Candyman, watch the original, and Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh was good too.
I'll say this about the reboot. It did talk about the lore in the first 2 films to keep it fluid with them, but nothing against Jordan or anyone. It needed more.
Yeah.
It needed a little bit more, I don't know, Candyman itself. But with that being said,
then we get to the third one, which I'm not trying to be rude. I don't know what they were thinking with Candyman 3. Candyman 3 was not as story heavy, and it was basically a TNA flick. It kind of upset me. I remembered going to Blockbuster Video and renting it, and I paid the money, because unfortunately it went straight to video. What a surprise. There was some good direction in it, but I was not happy with what they did. They took, they kind of turned Candyman into a pimp. I don't know how else to put it. I mean,
so Jimmy Bones meets
yeah,
Candyman?
I guess he was like Sir Mix-a-Lot, the Mac Daddy. But like I said, still the first Candyman is a bona fide classic. Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh, the sequel, again, a fairly good movie.
Helen. No, we're not tempting fate today.
Helen.
Shh. No Beetlejuice.
And now I've come. You've turned my flock against me. And now I must prove to them that I am real. That whole thing, that whole scene in the car park.
Yeah.
Oh man. And where you first see him and he pops out the hook and stuff, and she just passes out, and then she's in the lady's hotel or apartment. The dog's head's been cut off and the baby's missing, and the lady comes after her with the knife, and you're going, oh, what the hell just happened, And of course her piece of shit jerk husband that's sleeping with all the freaking college co-eds and everything else. Man, this film was
I will say
it had like everything.
The refreshing part about it, and you can all be mad at me, I don't care. When I first saw this, it was very refreshing to see an intellectual talking horror villain that was so condescending like Hannibal Lecter, but not funny. Because we've been smacked in the face with so many things. Freddy went from dark to scary to slapstick comedy.
But I think that's a fingerprint of Clive Barker's films.
Yes, but that's the point. Way Tony Todd has done it, even in almost everything you see him, he is very, the characters are very well educated. They're very grounded.
Right.
They have a certain moral compass.
Right.
And the way he brought it in this, when you first see the strength in his performance, his dominance in it, it's enough to make you boom.
The scene where he gets sucked through the window and stuff. I remember, now mind you, watching it now, you can see the strings and stuff because it's been cleaned up so much. But I remember I went to the theater to see Candyman.
Oh, I remember that.
And I'm telling you right now,
sound surround.
One of the few times I went to the theater that I got really actually quite nervous watching a horror film. I had to walk home after that one, and it was dark, and I was not comfortable walking home, man. The wind's blowing, the trees are rustling, and everything else.
It's freaking cold.
And, yeah, it was just crazy, that walk. So, I mean,
all you hear in the background.
Right. Candyman, again, gets
Dr. Morgan.
That's a 5 out of 5 film.
Oh, hands down.
Absolutely.
Hooks
This
down.
film is absolutely iconic.
Yeah.
If you have not seen Candyman,
That's your loss.
I'm
You need to
very
watch it.
sorry for you because you have missed out on something that is absolutely amazing. It is a fantastic film, as I'll say, probably one of the top 10 best horror films of the 90s, period.
And I'd say top 3 greatest performances of Tony Todd.
Yeah, for sure. I am saying greatest performance for Tony Todd. Sorry, man, I've seen Tony Todd in a lot of things, but he was just so good as the Candyman.
But on that note, we'd like to say...
Tell me, take one wish, give it to you wish you could escape. Just once. Wishmaster, I'm sorry. It was so hokey, but so good. Loved it. Andrew Devoff and him. That one
Andrew
scene
Divoff.
shared together was just fantastic. It's one of the best scenes in the film.
Well,
But you know, we'd like to say, hey, you know, we're very, 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 very sorry about the passing of Tony Todd. I mean, it's not often that you really say icon
yeah.
when we're talking about a genre, but Tony Todd had become a serious icon of horror.
Yeah.
He loved his fans. I've not heard a nasty story from anybody. There were people that were rude and would approach him when he was like having dinner in a place or something,
You
and he
don't
would
do that.
invite them to sit down and talk to him. That's cool that he
Yeah.
did that, but I mean, I guess
But
it's
yeah.
one way to handle it instead of throwing your food at him or something.
Right.
But yeah, with that, you know, rest in peace, Tony. We're sorry about your passing, and you know, you guys, seriously, after this, you know, watch one of his
Candyman.
films.
Yeah.
Watch Candyman. Watch
Or-
Night of the Living Dead. Watch Sushi Girl. I'm telling you, you'll be surprised. It's a fantastic film. He was very, very, very proud of that film, and very sad that it just didn't do well. I mean, your Sonny Chiba's in this thing.
It
You-
could have went far.
Mark Hamill is in this thing, and Mark Hamill's role is just absolutely
it's-
bonkers, batshit crazy.
Yeah. It's like Crispin Glover having an Adam West
Yeah,
nightmare.
yeah. I mean, he's like a sadist, man. It's like, good lord, the film is so good, and I'm telling you, you should see it. Again, please like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well so that you know what when we got a new video. Subscribe. Come check out this Dr. Morgus Rotten's horror movie reviews on Facebook. You know, I write reviews there. It's been a while, but you can still see links to our older reviews and, of course, our Human Fresh content, which is just absolutely disgusting and going to get even worse. But anyway, thank you very much. Stay scared, boils and ghouls, and we'll talk to you again later. But you can hear better now because we got our microphones fixed
We have
and
more.
whatnot.
We have more microphones. I'm in the middle of moving around a studio and moving into a new location, so we'll have different
Right.
sets periodically throughout the next month until we get settled. So, but it is going to get better quality and cameras and everything else, and bit by bit. So, just a little update.